Hello everybody and welcome. Today I wanted to make a video for the DS Lite and in general the DS and the 3DS family of systems. This video will focus on you wanting to get back into the systems and what you will have in mind if you want to replace batteries, what flashcards at all if you want that you could get. I'm not going to talk at all about hacking, but it's going to be something for here, for the region swapping, because I had specific issues and we will address it, okay? So, alright, let's start. So, chances are, if you get one of those on eBay or if you somehow dig up your own after a long time for your Fat DS or your DS Lite, the thing that you will have to immediately see is after you play it for a while, the battery is going to kind of be not so good, right? So you will start looking around for what you can get as a replacement. And that is where things start to get tricky. The reason I'm making this video is because it took me a long time to gather all this information, to do the battery testing, and to be able to show you what you can expect with some specific things. This video is not sponsored by any of these things, but it's just what worked for me. So first, I'm going to start with the batteries. Now, I got for both this is for the 2DS XL, new 2DS XL. It is the CTR003. This is from Cameron Sino. This is the most reputable brand that I could find because I believe that it's actually almost impossible to find and be sure that you're gonna get an OEM battery because people just put a sticker on top of another fake battery and they just sell it and they don't care on eBay and all of those places. I was able to get it from a battery store, Better Battery in Australia, and I was able to get both batteries from Cameron Sino. Now, why did I get this? And I didn't try to get an OEM or whatever. Is because this was supposed to be a brand specifically, the only brand I could find specifically trying to be a replacement battery. So it was like, after some digging, I was able to find information that those were the closest batteries to OEM. I'm not trying to say about the batteries that go crazy, that they say they're 2000 watts and they're gonna make your DS Lite run for days. But I'm talking about specifically trying to get the original experience that you had before, because I wasn't trying to do any crazy things like that. So for that, I would recommend Cameron Sino. But we will have to take a look a little bit on the tests here that I did. Alright, so for my DS Lite, I found the battery to be very acceptable. It was a bit odd at the start because it turns red way faster than I thought. So when it was turning red, it was it's supposed to be 30%. But on my test here, if I can get this to focus, my test here, the red LED light was on at almost 3 hours, and then it died at 5 hours, which is kind of a bit longer than it should be. So that was really a little bit of the problem. Some things just may not work like it's supposed to say when you change batteries, especially if they are old batteries, because who knows how long these were on the shelf, right? But yeah, like they were not used or anything, but they may need a couple of charges. I have heard of that. I'm not sure if it's true. If you know better on the comments, you can leave a comment there. But as far as I know from information I found on the internet, which is really hard to find, some of these batteries may take a couple of chargers and then they will have more sensible percents. Now, for this one, to be fair, it's on 30%, so it's not that bad. The problem was mostly with this one. Let's talk about it. By the way, this is how long this is running. So yeah, this is almost running now at 7 hours, and it's pretty good. It's running with a Flashcart inside, easy flash parallel. We will talk about that in a little bit, but let's focus first on the battery. So first here, now for the new 2DS XL, let's combat immediately my findings. So when I had it on camera scene, say here on the brightness too, because usually that's how I play that game on the DS 3DS. The Dragon Quest 5, it's a legit copy and everything, so it doesn't add any extra drain. It took 7 hours in this. I left it overnight. When I do 100 to 0, it's just because it's overnight. I did yesterday Fire Emblem, and I was actively playing and looking at it, and I found these weird findings. So from 97% to 51, it was 3 hours. Then from 51 to 40 was just 30 minutes. Then another 30 minutes for 20%. Then another 10% for 17 minutes, couple of for 25 to get here. Then it was 10 more minutes for 1%, and then another 30 minutes on 1%. It was staying there, and I was like, okay, are you gonna stop? What is going on? And I think this is the most important, because if you look at battery tests, like, because I did the battery mark test and I got a really bad result. I got like 2 hours something. Then I was like, something is not right here. And this was the problem, that it was holding so much charge on the 97 to 50% indicated. And then you see all this percent. For me, all these half 40 minutes was lost. All of this half hour was lost on the test, because the test stops at 5%. So all of that was lost. Now, I'm not saying it's the test's fault, but I'm saying that in real world performance, this could be different. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is kind of the expected battery life for brightness to be at 3 on a new 2DS XL playing a 3DS game. Because as far as Nintendo is saying, it's 3.5 hours to 6.5 hours of battery. So when you put it on the middle that I had this, you get around 5 hours, right? So if I had it on one, maybe I was getting close to 6 hours or not. What surprises me is that none of those results kind of really says anything about Wi-Fi or volume, which I found kind of odd. The volume never was mentioned in this stuff. But yeah, you can see that just this can be a little bit, you may need a little bit of patience, is what I'm trying to say, when you replace the batteries. And to be fair, this one on new 2DS XL, the battery replacement is not easy. It's probably the hardest battery replacement I had to do, because not only you have to unlock the back of it, you have to remove 3 specific cables that are very closely keeping everything together on this system on the back. And because of that, it's not the easiest. It's not the best thing to do. If you don't want to do it, maybe give it to someone else to do it for you. But it's not really a big deal. You can do it as long as you're careful. So now that we said this, let's go to the next part. And now we're going to talk about flashcards. If you are an idiot like me, you will get this. If you want to play your GBA games, you will get the normal Easy Flash Omega, and you think, I saved a couple of bucks. But then, a couple of months later, you're gonna feel like an idiot and buy the definitive edition, because it is so much better. You cannot imagine how much better this is. You can even use this. It has specific modes that it can work even with your DS games. This one, because like GBA games kind of like crazy expensive. and you can use it on your DS games to copy your Pokemon from the GBA to Platinum. So that way, it's the only thing that you can use of a flashcard to do that from GBA. Nothing else works outside of the original ones. So yeah, it has a mode called NOR. That's where you can put that. But anyway, you don't care about that. Specifically, this one is the best. Mostly, the reason I got it was the battery drain. This one, the battery drain is just too high. Just too high. It's not worth it. Don't bother with it. So pay 20 more bucks and get this, and don't be an idiot like me. It's kind of the definitive thing for the GBA. You can use it on your analog pocket. You can use it on your normal modded GBA, or you can use it also on the DS Lite. Now, let's talk about DS games. DS games are kind of getting crazy expensive, and while I love collecting, let me show you what I have. So I love Dragon Quest, and I kind of got all the Dragon Quest games for the DS and the 3DS, even the Dragon Quest 11 port that has no translation, of course. But yeah, like that was mostly it, and now I'm starting with Fire Emblem as well on the 3DS, and that is the reason that I wanted to make this thing work again so I can have good experience on my DS Lite. So back to flashcards. This flashcard is good as far as I have tinkered with it. It's pretty fun. You can use backlit codes, so you can have you can change the brightness here on your DS Lite when you want. On one game, on Pokemon White, I don't know why it doesn't work, but every other Pokemon game, it's fine to work with the backlit codes. And believe me, there is such a big library of games that you never played, that they got later translated, that something like this, you will need it just for that, and for modded games and all of that. Not specifically Pokemon, not yet. Hopefully we will start getting somehow the code and people will start making ROM hacks for this. But until then, you will have to settle with other stuff and modded games and cheat codes if you are into that. I'm not, but if you are into that, these also have cheat codes inside and all of that. This was the cheapest thing out of all of these three. This was the cheapest thing. That was the funniest thing because it was the best and the cheapest. Did a pretty good job. I had no issues with it at the start. I had some setup issues, but when I updated everything, it was fine. For the 3DS, now we're gonna talk about the issue that I had, and maybe this will only happen if you get something like me. Yeah? Because I was doing my collection for Dragon Quest that I showed you before, and I was like, you know what? I love Dragon Quest so much, I'm gonna get the Liquid Metal Slime new 2DS XL because I love how this thing looks. It's just really fun to look at it. Ooh, it looks bad at you. Ooh. Anyway, this specifically can cause you some issues. Now, I'm not gonna make a video on how to hack your 3DS and all of that. There are thousands of videos doing that. I'm not gonna do that. I am not as good as people doing guides. This is, after all, my kind of first guide anyway. Here, specifically, I want to talk about something that most people will not have to face. And this is region swapping. So region swapping, the best thing that I can recommend you is that you will have to have a hacked 3DS and then go and look at 3DS hack guides, the specific site. You know which one I'm talking about. It has everything very simple with scripts and explained everything. It's gonna be really easy for you. It just needs a couple of minutes of your time. So maybe around 10 to 15 minutes it took me to switch regions, and then another 5 to reclaim everything and reset everything, and now everything is back to what you had before. You're not gonna lose any data. It's not a format, it just changes the region. And I did it, I put the European region. Now, why I'm saying all this, right? The reason I'm saying this is because I love playing the physical games that I bought. I didn't buy this so I can rip it on and play the ROM. If that was the case, I would just have the ROM. Why would I buy this? So I got the physical thing, and if you go and install the patch from the H shop, normally it should work immediately, and you will have the DLC for whatever game your cartridge is inserted, because the DLC doesn't need the digital thing to be installed in there. And now we are entering the realm of madness that I was yesterday trying to figure this out. I couldn't. I was trying to use the system locale emulation. It was not working for the physical cartridge, but it was working for digital things like this. And what I ended up doing was changing the region, as I said, region swapping from Japanese, because this is only available in Japan, Japanese 3DS, 2DS, whatever, to European. Because Australia is in Europe, this is an Australian copy of Fire Emblem Awakening. And when I did that, I changed everything. It took, as I said, around 20 minutes to do all the whole thing. And finally, it magically worked. I didn't have to do anything else. Now, there is specifically an end section on that guide telling you about region swapping and DLC and stuff like that. And I think that's what really did it. That's what really did the trick. And for me, it worked. So I'm really happy that right now I have everything fixed. Hopefully with a couple more charges, as I showed you before, the battery section is going to get better and better on both to show better, more sensible percents. I will make a short video if that happens and I'm starting to see improvements. And if it doesn't, over a month, I will make a video that the situation was not improved, but at least I will know now what my percents mean. Because if you go to 1% on this one and then you have 30 minutes extra, I will be like, you know what, I will just wait for it to go to 1%, because you can check your percent from, if you have a hacked 3DS, you can check it from here. Oh, see, it's 31%. Normally for me, I'm a very battery anxious person. I never want anything to ever die. I wasn't like that when I was a kid, but now I am. And especially playing games on Steam Deck and stuff like that, the battery is way shorter from these things. I definitely got more conscious about when it goes to low percentages. But now, even if things don't get improved with percent on here, at least I will know that I can just leave it to go to 1% and then start charging. That is pretty much it. This is the video. If you want to see anything specific out of all of this, outside of hacking, I'm not going to make a hacking. There is so many guys making hacking guides. But if for anything else, for any explanation, for anything that you want to see, you can leave a comment and I will try my best to do it. I love DS, and outside of GBA, these were the consoles when I was growing up playing. This was most like university when I was going around playing Monster Hunter, and this was my whole high school, DS. So yeah, that is the thing. I hope you learned something from this video. It's quite lengthy. I will leave timestamps and everything. I did so much work for this. I hope you can just leave a like or something just to help with the algorithm, get people out there to learn about this, because believe me, some of this information, when you're coming back from nothing and you want to buy a 2DS or a new 2DS XL limited edition like this, or you want to buy a DS because you want to play your Pokemon DS games that you love, or whatever else, that is going to be kind of an issue if you don't know these things. Before I changed the battery on this DS Lite, I had to do, like, it was only running for three hours and on almost like medium brightness. So now I'm way happier. This still is running already now 7 hours, and I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, that is the video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.